Relationships in superhero stories can be just as pivotal as the action scenes or the epic battles against villains. In the Flash TV series, Barry Allen's romantic entanglements have been a very big hot topic in terms of debate since season 1. But today we're going to be diving into a relationship that didn't really get nearly enough time to shine. Barry Allen and Patty Spivot. This duo had chemistry, compatibility, and potential. So why did it all end too soon? Let's explore why Barry and Patty were perfect for each other, and honestly why their relationship remains one of the biggest missed opportunities in the entirety of all of the Arrowverse. So let's get into it. If you guys do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you guys can get caught up with all the latest videos that I do post. Also, the Discord is linked down below, so if you guys would like to possibly join the Discord, it's going to be there for anyone that wants to be there. But with all that said, let's get into the video. Really, just to getting started, Patty Spivot, played by Chantel Van Staten, made her appearance in season 2 of The Flash. She is introduced as a new recruit for the CCPD's Anti-Metahuman Task Force, and with her very sharp wit, dedication to justice, and her love for science, Patty immediately stood out as a character with depth and charisma. Unlike Iris West, Patty wasn't tied to Barry's childhood or his pre-Flash life. Instead, she was actively just entered his world organically as an equal and a partner. This dynamic brought a very fresh energy to the show, offering Barry someone who could actively connect with him on multiple levels that didn't have to do with so many things that we had already seen previously. Obviously, when we're talking about why two people should have ended up together, we have to talk about the main thing first, the chemistry. And honestly, let's talk about that spark. Grant Gustin's Barry Allen and Chantel Van Staten's Patty Spivot had almost an undeniable on-screen chemistry that made their interactions feel actively natural and engaging. Whether they were just exchanging playful banter or sharing heartfelt moments, their connection felt genuine, and a stark, really big contrast to some of Barry's other relationships in the series, most specifically, obviously, Iris. From the moment that Barry and Patty met in season 2, sparks are just flying. From their first interactions, just filled with really, obviously like the lighthearted banter and the genuine curiosity about each other's lives. And unlike Barry's relationship with Iris, which felt weighed down by their shared history and his dynamic and with all of the stuff that they already had just pre him being the Flash. With Patty, it felt a lot more refreshing and new and exciting because they didn't have any of that history. They didn't have any of the specific memories and all of the things that were holding him back with Iris, and the main reasons I just don't like Iris's character moving very farther into the series. Patty is a character that challenges Barry, makes him laugh, and brings out a new playful side of Barry that fans don't really often get to see enough of. And specifically also with the fact of they're both nerds in specific formats, so they actually have at least something that they can talk about with each other. One of the most memorable scenes between Barry and Patty also just happens to be their first date, which is honestly hilarious. Barry is nervous yet charming, tries to keep his obviously secret identity hidden, while Patty's just being a sharp detective she is, and picks up on a lot of his quirks. Their dynamic is very playful yet like heartfelt, which makes the viewers root for them as a couple even more, honestly. And obviously the first date was actively hilarious, just with the fact that Barry kind of literally couldn't see and he was just having a Cisco wingman for him. But that's not really the point of the entire video, which really that scene really made it a lot more funny with that specific interaction. And honestly, kind of talking about one of the specific things that I was just literally talking about, the shared interest that they had, which specifically being that of, nerds, which it was just absolutely amazing. One of the big things that set Barry and Patty apart from the other Arrowverse couples were they actively had the shared passion for science and justice. Patty's background as a detective and her personal vendetta against metahumans, or specifically, stemming from that specific tragic loss of her father, gave her a very unique perspective that Barry could actively relate to. As a member of the CCPD's Metahuman Task Force, Patty is a deeply committed person to protecting Central City, and much like Barry, they had so many different similarities that so many similarities, specifically that their mutual passion for helping others really created a strong foundation for the relationship. Plus, their geeky conversations about science and technology are some of the most entertaining and endearing moments of the series. Their shared interest really allowed them to connect on a much deeper level, and they both understood the weight of their responsibilities and the sacrifices required to fight for what's actively right. This mutual respect made their relationship feel a lot more balanced, with neither of them actively overshadowing the other. And most specifically, talking about them not being able to overshadow the other, Patty actively had independence. She was one of the most compelling characters, one about the entirety of the CW shows. But one of the most compelling parts about her specific character was the fact that Patty's character had her own independence. Unlike Iris, whose role was really often tied to Barry's journey, Patty stands on her own as a fully realized character. She has her own goals, her own struggles, a backstory which makes for a more dynamic partner for Barry, and her determination to solve her father's murder, along with the dedication to show her hard work and really kind of do all of the things that she wanted to, made her more capable of holding her own both in and out of the relationship. And really, one of the biggest problems with obviously all of that is, even though she was very much independent, she still didn't have as much of a connection, to the Team Flash and everything else like that, which really led to the biggest downfall of the entire relationship, which was just the fear of honesty on Barry's specific part. And really, just talking about honesty, because we all know honesty is a cornerstone of any great relationship. And Barry's and Patty's romance really thrives on it, at least initially. Unlike his relationship with Iris, where secrets and miscommunications created a lot of tension, Barry was a lot more open with Patty. And although his struggles with revealing his identity of the Flash really made the relationship struggle a lot more, the moments where he does let her in are very heartfelt and genuine, showing just how much he actively trusts her. But it was just literally never enough to get to the point where he had to do the one thing that would have made her stay. The reason that Patty left, the reason that she ended up leaving off of the show, was just the singular thing about honesty and telling people the one thing that they want to hear and the one thing that they basically already know. And it really just was a very, sad moment entirely, but Patty was just really a good character. Even if we're just talking about the fact that she did leave, she was a good character that helped Barry change and helped Barry grow. Patty's presence in Barry's life wasn't just about the romance. She also helped him grow as a person and a hero. Unlike Iris, which I'm going to be slandering a lot in any videos that I ever talk about with the CW Flash, who is often placed on a pedestal as Barry's endgame, Patty challenged Barry to actively open up and be honest about his feelings. For example, in episode 10 of season 2, Potential Energy, Patty confronts Barry about his inability to let her in on his secret, which this moment really forced Barry to reflect on the importance of trust in a relationship. And even though it didn't lead to the outcome that fans hoped for, it was just more of a situation that we were seeing Barry actively change his gears and grow a little more. And specifically talking about that, it is just a very big thing that despite their very strong connection, Barry and Patty's relationship ended abruptly when Patty decided to leave Central City to pursue her dream of becoming a CSI, which Barry was already doing because obviously he is the Flash and that's just kind of his day job. But it was a situation that they really could have very much sent and done that together, but their breakup felt a lot more rushed, and many fans were left wondering why the writers chose to end such a very promising storyline. Patty's departure was heartbreaking, especially because it was clear that Barry still had feelings for her, and she still had feelings for him. The show's focus on just pushing Barry and Iris as this destined couple really meant that Patty's arc was just cut short, leaving a void that many fans still feel to this day, long after the show is gone. The entire ending of her already knowing that Barry was the Flash, her only just wanting Barry to admit it to her himself, was such a really tragic way to end the story and end such an actually good love story between them, because of the singular fact of she knows. He knows she knows, but he just won't say the exact words and let her stay. And it's not like she couldn't have easily just kind of become a CSI in Central City. It's just she knew that Barry wasn't trusting her enough, or she just wasn't able to do anything else like enough to do, just be exactly who she wanted to be. Because Barry, like she even said it to Barry, if he just tells her, she will stay. But he just didn't trust her enough to tell her, so she had to leave. It was just the only option, and there was no point of continuing a relationship that wasn't going to be completely honest with each other. And kind of just like going off of that point and going back to my favorite point of this entire video, slandering Iris, we have to compare these two. And just starting off, we have to talk about the fact that while Barry and Iris are the comic book accurate soulmates, the show's adaptation struggles to capture that same magic. And specifically talking about just comic book accurate soulmates, even the Arrow didn't do that with specifically, Felicity and Oliver, and which a lot of people do talk about the fact that they don't like Oliver and Felicity's relationship, but I actually had really no problem with it. I enjoyed it, and obviously while there were some problems with the relationship in general, for the most part I actively did enjoy a lot of the storylines with them, and they actively felt like they had chemistry. And it was just a big situation that I actively enjoyed this kind of situation where even though it wasn't the comic book accurate relationship, they still made at least a decent chemistry. And we all have to admit, Felicity is absolutely smoking hot, so no one can even argue with me on that. But having another person besides Iris being the kind of potential love interest would have easily worked for this specific universe, because they already have at least one example of this happening. So Patty really just felt like a more natural fit, so it really just made me question why didn't they just do what they had already done in the show that was already predating The Flash, and just have Barry go with the person that fans actively like, and makes a lot more just active sense for the chemistry wise, instead of just going with the comic book accurate version, which most of the fans just weren't enjoying, even in season 2 when the character was at least still decent on Iris's end. Her chemistry, like Patty's chemistry with Barry, combined with, the independence that I was talking about and the shared interest, really created a dynamic that really felt more authentic and engaging than Iris and Barry have ever been able to do in the entirety of the show's run. Comparing the two relationships highlights just really shows how much Barry and Patty brought out the best in each other, and Barry and Iris really just seemed like more of a toxic relationship that just really wouldn't end due to plot convenience, which is something that I'm probably going to actively have to talk about in another video. And for honestly just like continually talking about this, there are so many ideas that I've had about this kind of situation on why I specifically think that they should have ended up together, and there are so many things that really just could have been. Barry and Patty's relationship had so much potential for further development. Storylines where Patty discovers Barry's identity as the Flash and becomes an integral part of Team Flash because, one, her detective skills and scientific expertise could have really added a new dynamic into the team, and she would have fit very well with the team just having some scientific knowledge in the first place, because we already have Barry, Caitlin, and Cisco, and it would have actively made a very decent combination for everything to really just stick together, and creating opportunities for unique storylines for deeper character growth between both her and Barry would have just been very interesting to see. Additionally, exploring how Patty's personal vendetta against metahumans conflicted with her feelings about Barry could have been a good decent complexity and depth between their relationships, and this kind of emotional conflict would have made for a lot more compelling television that allowed the viewers to really see the different sides of both characters that we just weren't able to get to see with the actual canon ship. And now it's time for the favorite part of the video, talking about the one thing that no one can ever account for, the fan reactions. Patty's character still remains a fan favorite character despite her very brief time on the show, and many viewers honestly still appreciate her chemistry with Barry and felt that her departure was a very missed opportunity for the series, including me. Online forums and and entire fan polls often highlight the fact that Patty was one of the Arrowverse's most underrated characters, with many fans really just calling for her return for most of the show. And I was doing that same thing, and I was honestly sad that she never made a return at all, which really just was like a very honestly wasted opportunity, especially even in the end of the show, because she had so much actually bring things to bring, and there's just so many plot holes, missed opportunities in the Flash that if I wanted to talk about all of them, it would take me at least 100 different videos just to get through them all. But we do not have that kind of time to just discuss them all in one video, so it's kind of better that I just wrap this up and try getting to all of those videos one at a time. Because, in all honesty, Barry and Patty's relationship in The Flash was honestly just a breath of fresh air that brought humor, heart, and genuine chemistry to the series that we were so desperately lacking. It's a situation that we all really wanted, but we just never got with almost any of the relationships in The Flash, or at least even a couple of the other DC shows, specifically around that timeline. Because while their time together was short-lived, it felt and gave much more of a lasting impression on the fans and showed exactly what could have been achieved if they had explored, a very good dynamic with any other character besides Iris much further than they ever decided to. And at the end of the day, relationships in superhero stories are all about balance between growth and connection, and Barry and Patty had it all. We were really just hoping for, Arrowverse projects to actually take a page out of our books and let the ideas that the fans actually give that are nice some actual meaning to their weights and everything else like that. But obviously we can't really get that from the Arrowverse now that we've actively lost all that beautiful kind of chaos that was always ensuing with CW. But if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. If you guys do have any other videos that you guys want me to do, put it down in the comments. And more specifically, did you guys actively ship Barry and Patty, or do you think there was another love interest that better suited him? Until next time, obviously, keep reading, keep watching, and keep celebrating the heroes we love. Peace.